Yo, what is up, everybody? Chris here from Big Sports News, Axis Rotation, however the flipping on me on these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys a quick preview of what to expect going into this weekend's HCS action. Of course, going into our first tournament of the year, HCS Arlington in Arlington, Texas. Now, I know that was a mouthful. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Today, I want to start off by introducing you guys to our new look teams for the 2025 HCS season. So, first of all, we have Shopify Rebellion, which consists of Cycle, Frosty, Last Shot, Royal 2, and Best Man as their coach. So, I'm doing this in order, if you guys couldn't tell, of seeding. So, Shopify is currently our number one seeded team. More on them in a bit. Now, our number 2 seed, Optic Gaming, is a surprise to no one. Everyone expected them to be 1 or 2 this year. So, this team being second seeded going into their home event is no surprise to anyone. So, the team, of course, is Bound, Formal, Legend, Renegade, and Tusk is no longer the coach. It's actually Lunchbox again, but this is just the tweet announcing the team. So, I just pulled this up so you guys could get a visual. Now, our third seeded team is a new look Faze Clan roster. You guys might have known that the old dynasty of Halo, of course, that being Snakebite, Royal 2, Frosty, and Lethal, that used to be their team. And then they, of course, dropped Lethal and picked up Renegade. They won a world championship in 2023. And then they had a rough year last year, so they disbanded the whole team. And now they have Trippy, Suppressed, Penguin, and Falcated. So this should be a really good team. Trippy and, of course, Penguin are coming from the Optic Gaming side. Falcated played with Lethal last year. What team was he on? I think he played with Spartan also, and Boo Boo Doo Boo. And then Suppressed, he was on Shopify with Mental, Cycle, and Last Shot, maybe? No, not Last Shot. It'll come back to me in a second. Good team. Shopify was top 3 team last year. I'm just forgetting what their team comp was. So our next team, the 4th seed, is Space Station. We have Eco, Lucid, Snakebite, Stellar, and Coach Elamite. So no surprise there. Big surprises, of course, from the offseason being Snakebite and Lucid being the acquisitions for the Spacestationgaming side. Alongside Stellar and Eco, this looks to be a really, really good team. So yeah, our next team is Cloud9. They're 8th seeded, but I just did this based on like what was available. The 5th seeded team is, we'll get to that in a minute. But anyways, this is just the teams that were tweeted out with photos and official announcements. So just wanted to give you guys the visual, like I said before. So this is Cloud9 squad, Boo Boo Doo Boo, Manny, Sab, Septify, and their coach Sensor. So yeah, I think this is a good team. Boo Boo Doo Boo and Falcated were on the same team last year. Were they on Complexity? Was it Complexity? I feel like it was Cole. But yeah, this Nemesis team, of course, is the EU GOAT squad. They have SLG, Glory, Snipe Drone, and Woodham. So you guys know Woodham is, I believe, our only keyboard and mouse player in the HCS. Maybe there's some people I don't know about, but he's the only person I've seen on main stage who plays with keyboard and mouse. So yeah, I'm a big Woodham fan, and you guys should be too, because he's just interesting. Now, TSM is our other team that I want to talk about. Cherish, Drux, Soul Snipe, Talik. I mean, these guys have been playing together for a long time. Their team chem is off the charts. Yeah, this is always one of my favorite teams to watch. I love Soul Snipe, Talik, Druck, and Cherish. These guys are just great like players. They're fun to watch, and they always have one of the most exciting POVs in Halo. So definitely make sure to catch some TSM matches. They always make some really exciting matches in their competitions against top teams. So our last team that was announced officially on Twitter on the HCS account was the new look Complexity squad with Huss, Mental, Precision, Spartan, and Ashes as the coach. I'm a big Gears of War guy, so I'm always going to love an Ashes Mental combo. If you are a fan of Gears of War, you know how lethal that combo was in Gears. I mean, chips on chips on chips on chips on chips on chips. Obviously, Mental is the greatest Gears of War player of all time, and Ashes is the greatest Gears of War coach of all time. So that pairing, for those of us who were there for that moment in time, iconic. So enough nostalgia cheese. Let's get into the next thing I want to talk about in this video, which is, spoiler, not the bracket yet, not the dashboard for making the bracket. I want to talk about the road to the HCS Arlington Major for all of our teams thus far. So we've had quite a few events leading up to this first major of the season, most of which being online. But we did have one land, the case on 50K. Not sure how many of you guys tuned into it. It was really fun. It went all the way down to a game 7 for the Optic versus Shopify series. Kind of a preview of what we should expect all year from this series between these two teams. On one side, you have Royal 2, you have Last Shot. Last Shot is like, how would I describe him? He's like the Neptune of Halo, to give you guys a comparable Call of Duty comparison at the current moment. He's clearly one of the best players coming through the HCS in terms of new talent, and he's transformative for the Shopify Rebellion team, right? We saw the first few weeks they played with Collect, and then they picked up Last Shot. They started winning everything, never looked back, and they officially signed him. So yeah, I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing from the Shopify team. It kind of reminds me of Halo 5 when the Optic or CLG team, if you guys know them as that, they were back in Halo, Counterlogic Gaming. It just reminds me of that team. Like Frosty was the MVP back then. If you guys watched, Frosty was disgusting. He was probably the best player in the game. It was him and Hook pretty much to me. They were the two best players in the game, definitely the best newcomers. So yeah, seeing Frosty have kind of a Frosty Jr. on his side while he's getting back to that H5 Frosty form is, for me as an Optic fan, a little bit terrifying. I'll be 100% honest. Frosty, his takeover in Halo is unreal. He's almost like the Hydra of Halo, but kind of different. I guess he's more like a simp, or I don't know how to describe his play style. He's his own player in Halo. Like, he has an untapped legacy. Like, no one can compete with his legacy for current Halo players. Maybe Stellar would be the closest thing, but yeah, I mean, Frosty's just a monster in his own right. So that's why I had to sing the praises of Shopify. Optic went out and they formed the God Squad. And look at this. I mean, first place in the first open, second one, Shopify, they just took the lead and they sat forward. And they haven't really looked back. I mean, the case on Invitational is very close, but otherwise, Shopify have looked to be ahead and they look to be the better team. So let's look at this HCS road to Arlington. As you guys can see, Shopify stand above the rest with a clear 8,000 point pro point lead. So yeah, I mean, Optics 10,000 points above Faze, and then Faze are 1,000 points above Spacestationgaming. So it's pretty close between 3 and 4, but 1 and 2 there's a big gap, and then 2 and 3 there's a big gap. So it's interesting to see the pro points kind of reflecting slightly, not largely, before someone, oh, Optic is very close. Yes, I'm an Optic fan. They are very close, but Shopify has the consistency on their side, and that's something to definitely take note of. So, looking at these boys, they have been absolutely dominant. They've won back to back to back, as you guys saw on the graphic before. And, you have to be realistic, right? Like, these guys are clearly the best team in the game at the moment. I do expect Optic at their home event to have some success, but I'm also a fan, so I'm slightly biased. So I have to be realistic and say the Shopify team does look phenomenal. I hope for the best as a fan, but realistically, I expect them to kind of pick up where SSG left off, unless the Optic boys get a little bit more comfortable and, show us something a little bit different. But the reality is, you're dealing with a team where there's two players who had a really, 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 really well formed system from playing together since 2015. Well, on and off. Frosty transitioned to COD for about a year or two. But, you could say in totality, they've had about 7 to 8 years of playing together, Frosty and Royal too. So that's a lot of team chemistry. And then you're bringing in two guys. Cycle was in a team that was a great system last year in Shopify Rebellion. And then, so they basically retained him. And then you bring in a guy like Last Shot, great upstart player. You can really mold him and teach him how you want to play the game, make him play your system. You have two players. Optic, they have a little bit of an uphill battle adjusting to that matchup, right? So if you think about the game the way I do from 1,000 feet up, sometimes you can understand why some of these teams take time to adjust, right? But it's all a matter of perspective. So let's look at the event schedule for the weekend, guys. So this is not something for us to note. This is today at time of recording, player check-ins and stuff. So tomorrow, this is everything that happens in terms of the broadcast. The broadcast starts at 12 Central Time or 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for us. And then let's go to the actual schedule for the day. So here is the schedule for day 1. or tomorrow at time of recording, probably today at time that you guys are watching this. So we kick things off on the main stream, of course, with a banger. We got Cloud9 taking on Shopify Rebellion. That should be a really fun one. Pull up to the stream tomorrow for a watch party, or today, whatever time you're watching, Friday, April 18th, whatever that is to you, pull up. I'll be live for the watch party. Same for Saturday and Sunday, and that goes for Call of Duty as well. So yeah, be sure to tune in and check it out. I really like what they did with these color coded Xbox style icons for the different Twitch channels. Nice Easter egg. Whoever did that, I noticed your game. I peeped your game, brother or sister. Nice work. All right, so enough tangential stuff. Let's look at the schedule. We have Optic playing Gen G on the A stream. Did not know that Gen G was a partner team, but that must be a recent announcement. Well, I don't know if they're partner, but I know that they were in the league. They're probably going to be a partner team. It's probably a recent thing because when we looked at it, the 10th seeded team on the roadmap was. We'll check it out in a second. But, anyways, Optic played Nemesis in their last match of the day on the A stream. That should be a fun one to kick off. I'm sorry, to end day one. So we'll, get subsequent days upon matches being completed and results going through, right? So we have to know who matches up in the bracket, which leads me to my actual bracket that I put together. So as you guys can see, Pool A, Pool B, Pool C, Pool D, etc. have 4 teams in each of them. I'm expecting the following to happen in these pools. I'm expecting Shopify. This is going to be a little bit harder of a pool to predict because this Triggers Down team is a little bit better than you might be led to believe. Let's check to see who's on that team. Road 2. Okay. So Triggers Down is Descendant, Ezo, Collect, and Lethal. That's a way better team than you'd be led to assume by their 9 seed compared to the 8 seed of Cloud9. So that's why I said it's kind of a trap series. If you guys watch Halo, you know Collect is a really, really, really good player. Lethal is lethal. He pulls off upsets a lot. I mean, I love this Cloud9 team. I do prefer them to get through, but I'm just saying that's one to definitely watch. It's going to be a fun one, but it's also potentially going to be a nail biter just because that team has a lot of upside on the Triggers Down side. And Cloud9, they're a great team, but Triggers Down is also a great team. So that's that. On the side of Pool B, we have Nemesis, Optic. Those are the 2 teams I think get through. Nemesis is the best team in Europe. They've won every single qualifier event. I do think that Reversal, Perfy, Breaking Shot, Common, King Nick, and Ryan Noob, I do think that'll be a good team. But I do think that the best team in EU can definitely compete with and beat lower rung NA teams because we've seen the best team in EU beat Optic, right? On, certain days. So I like Nemesis to get through, and I like Optic to get through in Pool A. I'm sorry, Pool B. Pool A is obviously, like I said, Shopify and Cloud9. Pool C, I'm thinking Faze and TSM get through. Pool D, I'm thinking Space Station. And, this is going to be a tough one just because looking at Luminosity, this is a great team, but Complexity also has really solid players. Spartan, Mental, Huss, and Precision. I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to say Cloud9 get the 2nd seed, and I'm going to say Complexity get the 3rd seed. Or I'm sorry, Luminosity get the 3rd seed. So we have the 3rd team in pools goes to lower round 1. The first team goes to all right, so to make this make sense, we're going to auto send everybody that I'm expecting to get 3rd seed to losers round 1. So who would that be? I'm expecting Triggers Down, Reversal, Pippa, and Luminosity to all go to losers round 1. So we'll just say Luminosity. How do I think? Well, let's just predict how we think that the swing matches are going to go. I'm going to say 3-2 Complexity, take Luminosity down in the pool play bracket. I'm going to say Cloud9 beats Triggers Down 3-1. TSM is Cherish, Drux, Soul Snipe, and Talik. Yeah. And they're taking on Pippa, who is EU. Let's check it out. They are Jimbo, Mighty, Sika, and Chick. That's a good team. That's a really good EU team. Oof. Sees. Yeah, not negative. Let's say 3-2 TSM. Reversal Perfy versus Nemesis. We said Nemesis gets through, of course. Say 3-1. Is everybody in losers that we need to be losers? Cool. All right. So let's move on to the real bracket at hand. So let's get on to the winner side of things, in which we would have the 1 seed taking on the 8 seed like we expected, just based on how the championship bracket should face how it should shake out. So let's start with the top side of the bracket. I think Shopify makes pretty easy work of Cloud9. Great team, but Shopify is just better in my opinion. Similar story for the Spacestationgaming guys. I think they will beat Complexity pretty convincingly. I think Complexity is a good team. I think their seed is not indicative of how good they are as a team. They should realistically probably be like an 8 or a 9, but it's early season and a lot happened to like make these teams happen. So it is what it is. TSM versus Faze. This is going to be a tight one. This one has upset potential, but I'm going to say 3-2 for Faze. Nemesis versus Optic. Another one with serious upset potential. I think Nemesis is going to be underrated by most of the community just because there's a lot of new fans and people don't necessarily watch and follow things that closely. But obviously, I have to follow a little bit closer because I'm a content creator. So I'm thinking this is going to be a 3-2 in favor of the green wall. We honestly need that. It's been a rough couple years, guys. If you're an Optic fan like me, we've had quite a few second places, nothing but. So need a dub, need a big dub, especially at the home event. Cheese always comes through for the org. If you know, you know. But yeah, let's look at this Triggers Down versus Nemesis series. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm buying myself a little bit of time by pulling up the rosters. Not going to lie to you guys. So Descendant, Ezo, Collect, and Lethal taking on the EU God Squad. Woodham and them. Tight one, but I think EU got it. I do. I think EU got it. I think they move on. TSM versus Luminosity. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know a lot about the Luminosity squad, but I feel like this is going to be one of those early season HCS teams that like really surprises us and makes us learn their name. So I'll book on that. Complexity versus Pippa. I'm going to take NA over EU respectfully. A Reversal Perfy. Whose team is that again? Breaking Shot in them and King Nick and Ryan Noob. That's a good team. Versus Cloud9, Manny. Ryan Noob, King Nick versus Manny and them. Oof. I'm going to go with the chemistry cheese. I'm going to just go with the chemistry cheese here. I like that Cloud9 team. I like their chem. Let's get back to the winner's side of the bracket. Shopify versus Space Station. I don't think there are any upsets coming through here. I think Shopify get it done. We'll say 3-2 just because Space Station is a phenomenal team. They have too many IGLs, too many cooks in that kitchen for me not to expect them to get at least 2. But yeah, I just feel like Shopify is a step ahead. So that's why I have them booking their ticket to the winners finals. Similarly, I have Optic and Formal taking on his former teammates in Trippy and Penguin. And I expect Optic and the Green Wall to get our revenge over those boys that we sent over to the Red Wall, FaZe Clan. All love to Penguin and Trippy. Yeah, I think Optic get it done here. So let's move down to the loser side of things once again. And that means we would have this Luminosity gaming team taking on Nemesis. I think EU supremacy here. I think a little 3-2 sweatfest for the Nemesis boys. I don't know. I'm always going to think of them as SLG. It's just going to be hard to adjust. Complexity versus Cloud9. Oh, man. I really want to root for Mental and Ashes here. You guys know I've always been a big Mental guy on the channel. I'm going to go with the reasonable choice here and say Cloud9. As much as I want to back Complexity and I hope for the upset, I just feel like Cloud9 should take this. SSG versus Nemesis. This is going to be a really good one if this comes to fruition. I hope it does. I'm going to choose SSG. Faze versus Cloud9. Similar thing. I feel like Faze is the better team between these two. I have all these going to 5 just because it's early season. I think we get a lot of game 5s. I really do. I think a lot of these teams are going to be a lot closer than people expect. I mean, we've been playing Halo 5 for almost 4 years at this point. So, yeah. I mean, competitively, we've been playing for close to 5, but it's really been about 4 if you're being super realistic, right? So, Space Station versus Faze. I'm going to say Space Station. I'm just going to say personnel diffy. Also, Sunday diffy. Shopify versus Optic. I think history repeats itself, like the case on Invitational, the case on 50K, where Optic won in winners finals. I think they do the same thing here. Home event, pretty safe to expect that they would pick up momentum on LAN, play really well, and book their ticket to the grand finals at home. Now, in the losers finals, that means we would have the match everybody would want to see at some point this weekend, Shopify Rebellion versus Space Station Gaming. Supposedly, I have them meeting up in the bracket in the winners half and then again in the losers half here. So if this does come to fruition, we should get 2 banger matches. And I expect Shopify to take both of them just because I think Shopify is just a little bit better. Respectfully, I love that team, but I just feel like Shopify is the best team in this game right now. So let's actually look at the rule set for the grand finals. I believe it's a best of 7 with 2 best of 7s, right? Is that how it works? I think it's 2 best of 7s. That's how it's usually been. Got me checking the rules. Let's see. Grand final will begin with an initial match. If the winner's bracket team wins the initial match, they will win the tournament. If the elimination bracket team wins the initial match of the grand final, a second match must be played. The winner of the second match will win the tournament. Best of 7. So, okay, so it's best of 7 as usual. Add a set. Yes. I think we get 2 best of 7s. I think Shopify takes the first one 4-2. I think Optic get back 4-3 in the second one. Even though we've never seen an Optic team win the second set of a best of 7, I don't think. Have we ever seen them regain in the best of 7 when they've lost the first set? I feel like we've seen them lose 2 best of 7s to Shopify more than once. And yeah, I think this time is different. Different team, different outcome. So that's why I'm expecting the green wall to stand tall after all, after a long series. 13 maps is crazy. Yo, if we get 13 maps, that might be a little bit brutal. I'm hoping that I'm happy at the end of those 13 maps if we do see them. So yeah, this is going to be my bracket, guys, for the entire HCS tournament. As you can see, my bracket is complete. This is my mock bracket. If you guys want to make your own, you can go to the same site, brackethq.com. This is not sponsored. I just found this to make the video. Hope you guys enjoy this visual aid to help you understand my thoughts on how I expect this weekend's HCS tournament to go. I hope you guys are as excited for some HCS to return as I am. I'm really excited about having HCS and COD, so I'll be watch partying everything this weekend. Be sure to pull up. You guys have been going absolutely bonkers with the support. Thank you for all the viewership, all the love, all the people following, all the people joining the Discord. It has been overwhelming low-key, so I appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet. Thank you guys for all the love and support, like I said before. Hope you enjoy the COD and Halo this weekend. I almost slipped up and said just COD, but Halo's back, baby. I'm so excited to be making content for HCS again. I've been watching HCS since I was literally 11 or 12, and I'm 26. So yeah, this is where I started. So I'm happy to, in a roundabout way, be coming back around the block to Halo. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy all the matches this weekend. I'll be bringing you guys probably some recaps throughout the weekend. Depends on how busy we get with the CDL watch party and the history of COD. I'm expecting to have some very long streaming days over this weekend. I was doing 8-hour days all last weekend, but this weekend will probably be 10 to 12 hours. So be sure to pull up. If you're up during the day, I will probably be live this weekend. So come hang out with your boy, catch a vibe, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Sorry for this long outro. I had a lot to talk about. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I want to bring you guys something a little bit longer. It has been a long week, a lot of uploads. So I hope you guys appreciate all the content. I am on that grind. So yeah, guys, like I said many times at this point, hope you have a great morning, noon, or night, wherever you may be on this beautiful planet, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News or X Rotation, however the flip you know me, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.